we've got on the men on the track now for the first of those heats. 6 heats to come.
Top 3 from each, plus 6 non-automatic qualifiers. Begum in lane 1. 10:31 this year. Then to Louis Schuster, European Under-18 medley silver medalist last year. Ernesto Rodriguez, 10:62 this year. Now Gara, national champion, 7:06 for the 60 indoors over the last 2 years. Rukniecki of Poland in 5. Vavilis, 10:44 PB mid-June. Kundig second from the outside, and Francini of San Marino will be nearest the camera. Very competitive race, this one. Begum of Switzerland in cracking form. Yet another great performance from Mannheim, a meet that has seen so many produce PBs over the years. So Begum in 1, Schuster Germany 2, Rodriguez Portugal in 3, Gara Spain in 4. He's run 10:28 this year. Rukniecki of Poland in 5, Vavilis of Greece in 6, Kundig Sweden 7, Francini San Marino in 8. The 2 quickest in 1 and 4. Blustery day, let's see if that has an impact, and it's Schuster who's slow to get away here. Good running by Garia. Oh, that's a real shame, but Bukniewski has pulled up. Excellent run from Garia, with Begum crossing on the far side for second place into a -1 metre headwind. A real shame there for the Pole, who had run 10:45 this year. You could tell there was something not quite right, maybe carrying a niggle on his way here, so no further participation for him, and I wonder if it puts his place for the 4x1 in some doubt. Vavilis came through for the 3rd spot. It was Garia from Begum. Good running from the first 2.
Yes, doesn't look at all comfortable. As we look at that replay, Garia pulling away quite well over the course of the final 30 metres. Rather unfortunate, though, for Bushinsky. Bushinsky, yes, struggling. I think it's going to be difficult for him to recover from that injury in time for the relays. Nevertheless, Spaniards flying away. Vavilis coming up through for that all-important 3rd place. Schuster home.
Well, Garia ran really well for 10:65, and Begum all on his own on the far side in lane 1 for second place. And top marks to the Swiss in the crowd, who picked up Phil Minchell's start sheet that was quicker out the blocks than Garia. It had moved about 25 feet, but the Swiss leapt up and caught it anyway.
Let's see how the women in Heat 2 respond to these circumstances. Did I say women? The men.
I knew what you meant.
Yes, thank you.
You need to eat some chocolate. We've got a long way to go. We've got a long way to go here.
Where are we? We've only got about another hour this morning. Anyway, this is a really good heat. And we saw some excellent running in the first heat. We've got men like this man, Sebastian Labora, 10:30 recently. Did that on home soil in Glavica. As we look across, Göring of Denmark, Statthorpe of Great Britain, Northern Ireland, Kreminer stopping at him, 10:31. So Labora and Kreminer, 7th and 8th on the European list this year. Peretz of Israel and Grigorian of Georgia, perhaps 2 of the outsiders to qualify for the finals. And then on the outside, we have Warburton of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. So Libora and Kremina, two men we're looking at, but with 3 to go through, it could be a real battle for that third automatic qualifying spot if this goes to form. Kremina, 18 years of age now. European under-18 champion 12 months ago in Slovakia. Well, Kremina had a dreadful start there. Libor in lane 2 running extremely well at the moment. And also Peretz of Israel having an absolutely brilliant run there. Kremina comes through so strongly over the final 30 meters, but he had an absolutely appalling start. He was sitting in his blocks as the rest were getting away. But his strength and speed told over the second half of that race. And a big surprise there, Peretz. I think he was very close to his personal best, just outside it. But a good run from Peretz there to take second place. Libora, after such a good start, lost his form rather badly in the second half of the race, but came through to take that third qualifying position. So that was a race full of drama.
And to back up your analysis there, Kremina had the slowest reaction in the blocks of anybody, 0.2 of a second. Contrast that to Peretz, who got out in 0.12. Those margins don't sound like much, but they really are at the top end. Kremina needed all of that speed to bring him through. Big improvement this year, but he'll need to improve on that sluggish start if he's to stand a chance come the semis later on. Big muscly guy. Libora was okay in third with 10.77. Peretz ran the race of his life, really. After a fabulous start, he held on really well, despite the pressure on his inside from Kremina. But the German has to improve that start come the semis.
There we've got confirmation of times. Kremina into a 1.4 meters per second win, 10.71. Peretz and Libora following him home, 10.75 and 10.77 respectively.
Well, Kremina, the favourite in the previous heat, sat in his blocks and left it very late to come through with a 10.71. Let's see how the best go in this one. Orlando on the inside, the Italian. What a big team they've brought. 10.40 just towards the end of July. Petkov next to him, 10.42. And on the outside, the fastest in the field, Lenny Chanteur. We'll get to him. There is Orlando. You can see there's a headwind facing these athletes. Lane 1's empty, so Orlando goes in 2, then to Petkov. Well, big roar from the Bulgarian. Wojciech, national champion over the 1. Nisula, he'll get the Finnish crowd in good mood. 6.81 indoors over 60, so he's got good explosive speed. Music of Bosnia-Herzegovina, 21.1 over the 200. Sierre, second in the national champs, and then Chanteur, the European leader in the under-20 age group, 10.22. That time came back on the 17th of May, but only second, I say only, second in the national championship. So this is absolutely loaded, this one, and only the top 3 plus the 6 guaranteed a place in the semis. Orlando, Italy 2, Petkov, Bulgaria 3, Wojciech, Czechia in 4, Nisula, Finland 5, Music, Bosnia in 6, Sierra, Estonia 7, Chanteur, the fastest in the whole field of 50 athletes. Nearest the camera for France, there he is in lane 8. He's got the quick times. What can he do here in the championship? Okay, big roar from the crowd for Nisula, and he's running well in the middle, but watch Chanteur nearest the camera. He's deceptive. He's got a lovely high knee lift. Chanteur, and then on the far side, I think the Italian Orlando was running well. Nisula was definitely buoyed by the crowd. That was a minus 3.3 meter headwind, and he's still come home in 10.77. Really good running from Chanteur. There's a decent opportunity here. And Chanteur has made absolutely certain of his qualification. Orlando was fine on the far side, and there was a good run from Sier of Estonia, who was dragged along by Chanteur. Sier was in lane 7. But how impressive was Chanteur of France, nearest the camera on the left, Phil Minchell?
Yeah, looking at Chanteur, he probably knew what was going on his inside, but he was away and flying, especially over the second half of that race. Now, that really has thrown down the gauntlet, as we like to say, to all the other fast men here in Tampere. And in these challenging conditions, 10.77 into a 3.3 meters per second wind. Just imagine what he would be capable of in more sympathetic conditions. I think he's laid down an early marker. We'll know for sure when we get to the semi-finals later on tonight and be able to watch those men in action. But I was very, very impressed indeed with Chanteur. And it's wonderful, dynamic sprinting style. We've seen some rather ragged techniques, as we might have expected at this stage, but that is compact, very mature and very composed sprinting.
Chanteur came in with the fastest time, and he's shown his quality there, taking that by well over 1/10 of a second. So yeah, great run for him, out-dipping Orlando, who was just ahead of Wojciech.
Yes, it's heat 4 of 6 in the men's 100 metres. Teddy Wilson, the fastest man in Europe in the under-20 ranks this year, goes in lane 7. The Briton with a 10.24 to his name. Ran that in Birmingham just over 2 weeks ago. On the inside, though, Francesco Pagliarini. Well, we saw his sister qualify for the semi-finals earlier. Alice Pagliarini, so won't want to let the sign down there. Philip Olsen and Filipos Georgantos of Sweden and Greece, followed by Senna Gilling of the Netherlands. Good Frenchman, French doing so well in this. Gal Delumenet, indoor 60-metre champion in the under-20 ranks. It's a best of 10.37, but Teddy Wilson, he says his first sporting memory was 13 years ago when he was watching the 2012 Olympics, not far from where he lives in London. Wilson took the British under-20 title in that sparkling 10.24 just 2 weeks ago. Seven men settling into their blocks. Pagliarini, Olsen, Georgantis, Gilling, Delumenet, Wilson, and on the outside, Altman or Pulma. And Wilson gets a good start. So too does Pagliarini. Now coming through strongly, Olsen as well, though. But Wilson starting to pull away from the rest. Wilson, the Briton, comes through unchallenged. Pagliarini on the inside, follows in the footsteps of his sister, and is into the semi-finals as well. No doubt at all about it, though. Really good run there from Wilson. 10.74. Might well have been actually the Norwegian who got through. Yes, we can see there. 10.75 for the Norwegian on the outside. Those who were watching, Wilson spade away, and Pagliarini 10.75 on the inside. So good run as well from the Norwegian, slightly unheralded. Altman, Opuama, not that far away from his personal best. So Britain, Norway and Italy, that's the 1, 2, 3.
Well, I tell you what, Teddy Wilson just ran a 10.54 into a minus 1.7 metre headwind. And he was pulling away from Delamine really well towards the line and could afford to give a little look across to Pagliarini, and Pagliarini was out-dipped on the line. It was pretty close, wasn't it? Altman Opuama was dragged along by Teddy Wilson, But bearing in mind the stage that they're on here and the headwind he was contending with, that's the best run we've seen so far today in the 100 metres. That was absolutely superb. 10.54 into a minus 1.7. There's a lot more where that came from. And he had the joint slowest reaction from the blocks. So if he gets out a little bit better, Phil, the fireworks could fly.
Well, especially if he's lined up close to or alongside Lenny Chantier, who won that previous heat. Now, Chantier, I think you're right. I'd agree with you. It was the best we've seen so far in these 100 metres heats. But Chantier also having to go into a much stiffer breeze was also very impressive. So Teddy Wilson, 10.54. A full 2/10 faster than Benjamin Altman-Opuma in second place, and Francisco Palligarini taking third place and securing his place in the semi-finals this evening.
Penultimate heat of the men's 100. The slowest of the non-automatic times, by the way, if you like keeping your eye out for that sort of thing, is 10.92. Jorge Hernandez rocketed his way to 10.27 on the 7th of June. He starts in lane 2. He's the quickest in the field on paper, but there's real talent outside him. Watch out for Rasmus Jansson, the Estonian national champion, 10.47 this year, and 2/10 quicker Hernandez. Definitely one to watch. But can he deliver here? He's 6.65 indoors this year. Kasuch of Germany, 10.52 this year. Then the very tall Norwegian, Akene Norderli, watch for him towards the end. Lepionka of Poland, 10.51 this year. Riviere, relay silver 2 years ago in Jerusalem. He's got great experience and great explosive speed, 10.35. Komisarenko just crossing the arms, maybe got a few goosebumps with the cold. 6.76 indoors, so should have a good start from him. And Botin of Monaco on the outside might find this just a little tough. Jansson, Estonia 1, Hernandez the quickest in the field, Spain in 2, Kasuch, Germany 3, Akene Norderli of Norway in 4, Lepionka of Poland 5, Riviere of the Netherlands in 6, Komisarenko, Ukraine in 7, and Botin of Monaco in lane 8. This is really quick. Hernandez is the fastest in this one, but he may not have it all his own way. How will he cope with the pressure and the expectation and the finishing speed of Riviere? He'll be third from the left-hand side for the Netherlands. Penultimate heat, men's 100 metres. Really tough conditions here. Great crowd. Komisarenko and Riviere. And now Riviere. Wow, look at this. Absolutely floating past. He left Hernandez for dust. 10.59 into a minus 3.6 metre headwind. Somebody just did a mic drop. Boom! And his name is Riviere. Wow!
I'll tell you what, I wonder what the reaction is of the likes of Teddy Wilson and the rest of the sprinters having just seen that performance. And just look at the yawning gap between Riviere and Hernandez, 0.3 of a second, you know, and we're looking at Komisarenko there, who's got through in third place. I think he's as stunned as everybody. And Riviere didn't exactly get the best of starts, but then with 30 metres to go, suddenly picked up his knees and starts striding away. What a magnificent run there, and still had the luxury of easing down in the final 10 metres. Whoa, that is a stunning heat. You were saying Teddy Wilson's was the best before. I think we've just seen the best now, and there's still one heat to come.
Well, it was rounded up to 10.60, but I think he'll take that. Hernandez ran well into such a headwind for 10.91. Komisarenko in third, but my goodness me, the standout qualification so far. Riviere revved it up.
So the sixth and final heats of the men's 100 metres. And some very good runners in this indeed, not least of which the men in lanes 4 and 5. Ian Bizassen of France, a 10.25 man at best, and then Dylan Williams, 10.39. On the inside, in lane 2, it's Nacho Hernandez, Spaniard, who might well be in the mix as well for getting through to the semis. Saw Kassa of Estonia. This is Bizasen. Well, Bizasen, 19 years of age, and he's the reigning two-time French 100 meters champion. Of course, France have got the championship and European under-20 record. Christophe Lemaitre, dating back to 2009. And alongside him, we saw Dylan Williams, and this is Ramsgaard Jensen, Ribeiro, and Kolopaila of Lithuania complete the lineup. So 10.95.2 at the moment. The sixth and final place in the hot seat. So anybody who's finishing outside of the top three has to run quicker than 10.92 to get themselves into the semi-finals later on tonight. They settle down. Bizasen in lane 4, the favourite. And he's out quickly. It's Bizasen at the moment, the big, strong Frenchman, being challenged by Dylan Williams, but Bizasen is holding him off. And it's France 1, Great Britain 2. 10.74, once again into a very strong breeze. No doubt at all about the first two men home, Bizasen and Williams, going to form. Congratulations all round, good sporting gestures. Bizasen just kicking out. The Dane, Ramsgaard Jensen, comes through for third place. And Hernandez, no, he's not going to make it through to the semi-finals. He's just shaded out. So it's just the first three that go through to the semi-finals from this, the sixth and final heat of the men's 100 metres. So once again, we can see on the replay, Bizasen, not the quickest of starters, but it was good enough to get himself in front after 20 metres. Dylan Williams challenging, coming through strongly, but Bizasen had to go all the way through to the line, no easing up. But he took the plaudits at the end of these heats of the 100 metres. And so France, they've got all three men through. I think Britain as well have got all three men through to the semis. And in this race, it was Denmark's Sofus Emil Ramsgaard Jensen, who I think's got the longest name out of these 100-metre men, gets through in third place.
Very good running by the Frenchman and the Briton. And by the way, that makes it 13 men inside 10.8. And some of these races have been run into 3.8-metre headwinds. It's been top quality, and surely Revier, the Dutchman, is the most impressive, although not being the fastest qualifier. But excellent work from the Frenchman and the Brit for first and second there, head and shoulders above the rest, including the very long-named Dane.
It's the first semi-final. Well, Benjamin Altman-Opuma, I think we saw him in the call room. Just wonder why he had such a good heat this morning. Came through very strongly to finish second in his particular heat. So just two to go through, two non-automatic qualifiers as we saw in the women's race. So the third string Dutchman, Senna Gilling, best of 10.49. Now he's seen his sister get into the final. This is Francisco Pagliarini. It's a 10.56 man at best. He's going to need to be on the top form to get through to the final though, and join his sister tomorrow evening. Skipper lane, fourth lane is very quick on paper, Jorge Hernandez, but that was done in Salamanca in very, very sympathetic conditions. This man though, no doubt at all, he's flying 10.24 to win the British under-20 title a couple of weeks ago in Birmingham. Didn't have the best of runs in his heat, but Lenny Chanteur lining up against Teddy Wilson. Alexander Komisarenko, 10.44 in Lutsk recently. out in the west of Ukraine. And then on the outside, perhaps one of the underdogs to get through, Hugo Kundig from Göteborg. 10:51 man. So,
on your mark,
2 to go through, and perhaps the favourites for to fill that slot. Teddy Wilson of Great Britain, Northern Ireland in lane 5, and Lenny Chanteur in lane 6. Don't count out, though, Jorge Hernandez in lane 4. As they settle into their blocks from the inside, Gilling of the Netherlands, Pagliarini, Italy, Hernandez in lane 4 for Spain, Wilson, Great Britain, Chanteur, France, Komisarenko, Ukraine, and on the outside, Kundig of Sweden. Wilson got a good start, so did Hernandez as well. Now Hernandez, he's got in front at the moment. Now Wilson starting to go through the gears, and he's coming away. Chanteur follows him home as the Spaniard ties up in the closing stage of that race. Unofficially 10:49 for the Briton. Chanteur really does extremely well over that final third of the race to overhaul Hernandez. Hernandez, 10:65. I just wonder whether that's going to be good enough to see him through as one of the 2 non-automatic qualifiers. It's not the quickest of third places we've seen at European Under-20 Championships. But no doubt at all about the 2 men who will go through to tomorrow night's final.
Very good run that by Wilson. At this stage, he's under a little bit of pressure from Hernandez, but from here, you know he's got it. Chanteur did really well to come through and deny Hernandez by 4/100ths. And Pagliarini in a non-automatic spot. That's how his sister made the women's final. Maybe the omens are good, but 2 stacked semi-finals still to come. Very impressive from Wilson. Kundig just sort of eased up after about 30 or 40. Maybe it was a great opportunity to take part in a continental semi-final, and he felt something not quite right. It wasn't a sudden stop. He just sort of gradually realised, OK, I've made the semis, but this isn't my day. Now the time when he perhaps feels something a little bit tight and maybe saving himself for the relay. But Wilson, lovely run there, coming under pressure from Hernandez and delivered really, really well.
Well, we'll wait and see whether Kundig, well, he walked out of his lane. I'm not sure whether he might end up being disqualified, sadly. He sort of pulled up and held his left hamstring about 30 metres from the line, but no doubt at all, Teddy Wilson putting down a marker there. And for my money, well, we saw a great run from him in the heats as well this morning. We've still got Revier, the Dutchman, to come, but Wilson is starting to look very, very good indeed. It's going to take a lot to beat him when we get to the final tomorrow night.
Everyone really enjoying the climax of this opening evening session. Almost 2 down and 6 to go. Crowd have stayed around. It's cold now, but this main stand that we're in is still pretty full, Phil. They love their athletics in Finland.
Oh, they do indeed, of course. So in the Helsinki World Athletics Continental Tour Gold Meeting, capacity crowd every year, great meetings in Turku and now Tampere as well. And of course, they've also been great servants of European athletics. Many age group competitions, European Team Championships come in this direction. So that's the third heat. Bizersen, great outing in the heats this morning. That's a best of 10:25. Beat Chantier to the line to win the French under-20 title. There's a man we mentioned a little bit earlier, Joshua Revier of the Netherlands. Sparkling run in his heat this morning into very, very difficult conditions, but ran 10:66 this morning into the teeth of, what was it, almost a 4 meters per second gale.
Oh, the conditions were complete opposite. It's cold now, though, and they'll need to stay as warm as possible. we're coming up to, what are we local time? Coming up to 9 o'clock. We've been on air about 11 hours today. Peretz will be going in lane 3. 10:47 in rather different conditions in Jerusalem on the 15th of July. They've been here long enough to plait some hair. It has been a long day, but a very enjoyable one.
I thought that was thunder, but it's your stomach rumbling, isn't it?
I am hungry, actually, and a little bit cold. I can't believe my co-commentator here is sitting in shorts and he's got goosebumps. Anyway.
So there's confirmation of the times into a 0.1 meters per second win. Teddy Wilson, 10:49. Comfortable win for Wilson. Chantier having to work a little bit harder to get up into second place and that automatic qualifying place. 10:61. Jorge Hernandez will have to wait and see how the next two semi-finals unfold, but he's in with a chance with 10:65. Pagliarini 10:70.
Well, it's about to get red hot on the track for the second semi-final of the men's 100 meters. Kemina goes in 3. Will he have a better start than he did in the heats this morning? Guerrero, 3rd fastest qualifier in 5. Begum, 8th fastest qualifier in 4. You can make a case for all of them qualifying for the final. Gael Delamine, 10th quickest, 10:76 this morning, but he has run a 10:37 on home soil. That was back on the 22nd of June. Daniel Orlando, also a 10.4 man, but 10:92 in qualifying. It's not as warm as he'll be used to in Italy. Jakub Kemine, gold in Banska Bystrica last year in 10:46. He recovered from the slowest start of his heat. He's got Begum for company. They've both run 10:31 this year, but Begum had a 10:75 in qualification. Guerrero ran 10:65, and he's gone 10:28, albeit in much, much warmer weather towards the end of last month. Those arguably the 3 to watch, but don't rule out Dylan Williams inside 10:4 for the first time. That was in Birmingham towards the end of last month. It's absolutely loaded, but you'd expect that. It's a massive continental semi-final. Lavilis, 10:81 this morning, looks nervous, understandably so. This is an absolutely stacked semi-final. And Philip Olsen on the outside, hopefully he'll fare better than his teammate Hugo Kundig, who pulled up in semi-final 1 from the same lane. So Teddy Wilson, 10:49, from Lenny Chanter, 10:61 in the first of the semi-finals. The non-automatic spots at the moment, Hernandez of Spain, 10:65, and Pagliarini of Italy, 10:70. Both those times definitely within the grasp of these men. On paper, the men to watch here: Kemina, Germany 3, Begum, Switzerland 4, Guerrero, Spain in 5. This is tight. Who's going to seize the chance to join the 2 quickest in Europe in this age group in the final? Slightly better start from Kemina, although he's still coming from behind. Guerrero is running really well here. Kemina's left it too late this time. Oh, very tight on the line for second between Begum and Williams. Guerrero ran fantastically well there. Kemina had a slightly better start, but he faded and it all got rather tense. Guerrero, the 5th fastest in Europe so far this year. Watch the clock as well, because whoever misses out between Begum and Williams, they might still be in with a shout. The non-automatic spots: Hernandez 10:65, Pagliarini 10:70. And it looks like second spot to Begum of Switzerland, although that's not coming up on your screen. We're getting an early glimpse of it here. Good run from Guerrero, it really was, 10:42.
Just looking at Guerrere's split times, I should say reaction times, he was the fastest man out of the blocks at 0.14 reaction time. You can see there, his first step gets him into the lead and he's never headed. Kreminer, a little bit of a disappointing run from the European medalist at the Under-18 Championships last year. It looks to me as though that was Dylan Williams coming through for second place. I think he might just get the verdict over Begum with the naked eye. It's very, very tight, but I thought, looking at that replay, and there we have confirmation, it is indeed Williams who gets through, but Begum is in contention to get through as one of the fastest non-automatic qualifiers.
As is Orlando, having finished 4th in 10.63. So Orlando is on the list, and Pagliarini and Hernandez are no longer. 57 and 63 have got a very good chance of hanging on for 3rd and 4th spot, I think.
Yes, storming run from Dylan Williams over that last 20 metres.
Guerrere seized his opportunity with both hands. Williams, by thousandths of a second, out-dipping Begum 3/1000ths of a second, but Begum should still go through with a 10.57.
8 men looking to go forward to tomorrow's final in the men's 100 metres. And Joshua Revere absolutely storming heat in very, very challenging conditions. Impressed both myself and Rob Walker alongside me. This is Louis Schuster. 10.53 in Dresden earlier this year. Ramsgaard Jensen of Denmark, just 18 years of age and a 10.54 man, not much difference. Ido Perez, he was impressive in his heat this morning, getting through in 10.75, the Israeli sprinter. But this man is the one we were talking about in the heats this morning, Joshua Revere. 10.35 his personal best, not the quickest man by any stretch of the imagination in his semi-finals, but looks so impressive. Bizan, French under-20 champion, where he set his personal best of 10.25 3 weeks ago. Herman Sier of Estonia, 10.49 man, hails from the capital, Tallinn, member of the elite sport club there. Sebastian Libora. Poland won this title 2 years ago. Can Libora at least stay in contention? And on the outside, George Warburton of Great Britain. Well, you've just seen his colleague, compatriot, Teddy Wilson go through, winning that previous heat. There's the hot seats, Begum and Orlando. Keep your eyes on the time of the men's coming home in 3rd and 4th place as well. Well, Reviere, so impressive this morning. Either side of him, Perez and Bizasen, sure are not going to let a place in the final go begging. From the inside, Schuster, Germany, Ramsgaard Jensen, Denmark, Perez, Israel, Reviere, the Netherlands, Bizasen, France, Sier, Estonia, Libora, Poland, and Warburton of Great Britain. The 3rd and final heat, the last action on the track here on the first day of the European Under-20 Championships. And it's Bizasen who's had a great start. The Frenchman's away, but now the long-legged Dutchman's starting to motor, and he's coming through. It's Holland versus France, but it's Bizasen who takes it. Reviere looked as though he eased up. Maybe he just had a sense that he was well clear of the men closest to him but behind him. Libora and Warburton on your screens. It's a photo finish for 3rd. Well, the results system's gone on the blink. It's giving it to Bizasen at 10.35 with Reviere at 10.40. Libora He just misses out. Labora and Warburton both timed at 10.63, but there'll be no place in the final for them. So Bizersen, the fastest of the winners of this men's semi-finals in the 100 metres.
Really good there. I still think there is more to come by that young Dutchman. Of course, it was a brilliant run from Bizersen, and he is the third fastest in this age group with a 10.25. But I thought Riviere just eased back. I think there's more to come from him in the final.
I think there is as well. What worries me slightly is, was that confidence or was it international inexperience that led to him easing off? He certainly won't want to do that in the final. I'm sure he's not going to do it in the final. But that'll also cost him a preferential lane draw as well.
It did, and by the way, as we're mopping up the non-automatic qualifiers, this is crazy. Orlando does take the second non-automatic spot by 2 thousandths over Libura, who was 4 thousandths quicker than Warburton. So 3 men on 10.63.
Gosh, isn't that tight? But Bizersen pulling down a marker as potentially a gold medal candidate with that 10.35. Superb running in those semi-finals, and there's the wrap-up of the 8 men who will contest the final tomorrow evening. There's the lineup. 2 Britons, 2 Frenchmen, an Italian, a Dutchman, a Swiss man and a Spaniard, and that Spaniard also could enter the mix. Onda Garrier, 10.28. So, from the inside, it's Daniel Orlando. He's seen an Italian already take a sprint title, and there was further success for Italy in the women's triple jump. Came through as the fastest non-automatic qualifier. Dylan Williams, the first of 2 Britons in this field, has a personal best of 10.39. Now the very impressive Dutchman, Josiah Riviere. What can he do? What can he bring to the party? He's looked so good through the heat and the semi. The fastest man in the semis, Yizan Bizersen, won his semi-final in 10.35, has a personal best of 10.25. Garrier sped to a semi-final victory in 10.42 and can claim a personal best of 10.28. The Spanish under-20 champion. Here's the British under-20 champion and also a semi-final winner, Teddy Wilson, 10.24. As we were saying, perhaps the marginal favourite, looking very confident, very relaxed. Lanny Chantier, the quickest man in Europe in the under-20 ranks. 10.22 back in May. Hasn't looked quite that quick though, but he's still here and he's in lane 7 and getting through as one of the fastest automatic qualifiers. It's going to be a tall order for him to get into the medals, but he's on the start line. Ashit Begum of Switzerland, 10.31 at best. The very last final, the very last action on this second day here in Tampere at these European Under-20 Championships. The stadium goes quiet from the inside. Orlando, Italy, Williams, Britain, Riviere, Netherlands, Bizersen, France, Garrier, Spain, Wilson, Britain, Chanteur, France, and on the outside, Begum of Switzerland. The tension palpable amongst these 8 men, and in the stands, the final of the men's 100 metres. Wilson beseeching celestial help. Bizersen looking very, very focused. And Bizasen's away very well. So too the second Frenchman, Chantier, on the near side. Now Guerrier coming through. The Spaniard is starting to accelerate and takes it for Spain. 10.40 into a minus 0.7 meters per second wind. Looks like it's a photo finish, as you can see on your screen, between Revier and Wilson for second place. Chantier also might just have a shout, but I think it's Revier for second. Yes, he is given it on the photo. Just outside of his personal best, but Guerrier confirms the form he showed in Salamanca, almost at altitude in warm conditions. This is a Spaniard for all weather. What do you think of that, Rob Walker?
He was really impressive there, really impressive, as Revier is confirmed with the silver, same time as Teddy Wilson. Both of them, in fact, if it's confirmed, both of them sharing silver down to thousandths of a second. That's incredible. We're not being given the thousandths yet, but it is down as joint silver. Bizasen down at 10.50. Wow, it's not very often it goes down to thousandths and they'll both be over the moon. But Guerrier showed great composure there. There was just something about his body language at 60 meters that said, I'm not the biggest, I'm not the tallest, but I'm going to take the gold medal. He's got a confidence that belies his slender frame. Great win.
Well, the stride pattern was the quickest over that second half of the race. As you rightly say, there were quicker men on the start line on this year's performances. There were quicker men according to their times in the heats and the semi-finals, but Guerrier just had the better acceleration over the second half of the race. It was all even. It looked like Bizasen had the advantage up until about the halfway point. Have a look at it again.
Right, so at this stage, Wilson going well, and also Chanteur, but now this was the point at which I thought Guerrier was going to win. Yes, they were coming. There's just something about him mentally that gave him an edge, because everyone was talking about Riviere and Chanteur's quick times. I didn't think Chanteur was going to win. He just didn't quite look as impressive as he had done earlier this summer. But Guerrier has come and seized his opportunity. We've got used to waxing lyrical about great tactical awareness from Spanish middle distance runners, but to come and steal the 100, and he's not necessarily built like a 100-meter runner, he did that with his mental composure.
Absolutely. And the way he was able to, well, all sprinters de-accelerate over the final third of the race in 100 meters, but he was able to control that de-acceleration. He de-accelerated less, if you like, than the men around him. I'm sure great days are ahead for the likes of Teddy Wilson. And Joshua Revier is a real uncut diamond. I don't think we've seen anything like the best of Revier. He just coming through the heats, he just looks so rugged and untamed. I'm looking forward to seeing what we can get out of Revier in the years to come. But for the moment, it's Ander Guerrier who takes the honours. Well, they're splitting it now. Oh no, it is exactly the same. It's coming up on our screens as exactly the same hundredths of a second. 10.464 down to the thousandths of a second for both Joshua Revier and Teddy Wilson. They'll share the second place on the podium when those medals are awarded tomorrow.
It's very rare, but it does happen. Do you remember when, I think it was Kim Collins and Sean Crawford shared a bronze in the World Championship in Edmonton in 01? It's extremely rare, but very occasionally it does literally come down to two athletes being inseparable.
And we don't often see a Spaniard winning a sprint race. We had Bruno Hortolano winning the 200 metres. I think it was 2016 at the European Championships. But the Spaniards, well, they're renowned for races of 800 metres and upwards. And we might well see another Spanish gold in the very first event tomorrow with Sofia Santa Cruz defending her 10,000 metres race walk title. But for tonight, the celebrations in Spain and in the Spanish team camp are all about that man in front of you. There's the confirmed times. Ander Guerrier, in the end, put daylight between himself and the rest of the field. Josiah Reviere and Teddy Wilson taking the silver between them.
Hey, I'm Ellis Fitzgerald, and you need to go and sign up to European Athletics U20.